Have you ever thought of giving up, walking away, or just quitting? Have you ever felt so down in life that you just hated it and felt so fed up of it? Let me tell you this. Having such a thought is totally natural and completely fine. Having such a thought doesn't make you a loser or a failure. But what makes you a loser and a failure is listening to such thoughts and going ahead with such ridiculous ideas. The thing that separates a true winner from a sore loser isn't merely victory or failure. But the thing that separates a winner from a loser is their mentality, their will to keep pushing forward, the will to never give up, and the will to chase success. That is the mentality of a winner. A winner's mindset will never let them go ahead with such absurd ideas. A winner would get rid of all the junk in their head and would never in a million years ever let them give up, walk away or quit. No matter what the challenge is, no matter what the risk is, no matter what the cost is, a winner will never rest until he gets what he wants. The mentality of a winner will always make them to keep their eyes on the prize and stare it down and never lose sight until they hunt it down and seize it all for themselves and make it their own.
Get this straight, to be a king, thinking like an ordinary person and acting like a normal human being just ain't gonna work. Because to be king, you must take over the mentality of a king. You must act like a king, feel like a king, and think like a king. Only then can you actually separate yourself from the ordinary people. Because to be king, you must be extraordinary. You must be exceptional. Why do you think that out of all the animals in the jungle that the lion is considered as king of the jungle? The lion isn't the biggest because the elephant is probably one of the biggest. It isn't the fastest, that's the cheetah. So if the lion isn't the biggest, fastest or the strongest, how does the lion become the king of the jungle? It's his mentality. His mentality is what makes him the king of the jungle. The lion fears no one. The lion may not be one of the biggest, strongest or the fastest, but when a lion sees an elephant, the lion sees lunch and the elephant thinks run. The lion may be outnumbered by a pack of hyenas, but the lion does not fall back or run. But what makes the lion a king is his mentality. His mentality that I am the king of this jungle and this is my kingdom. Remember this, no event can destroy you, no problem can end you, and no man can oppress you. But if you allow your mentality to be weakened, then that alone can enslave you, it can destroy you. So let your mentality take over and you will be a wonder.
There are two types of mentalities in this world, the excuse makers and the result creators. Winners never make excuses, they own up to their mistake because they know that there are no shortcuts to winning. Winning requires blood, sweat and tears, and greater heights are achieved by those who shed the most amount of blood, sweat and tears. Greatness is achieved by those who work their asses off chasing it. Those who give up and walk away in the process of making silly excuses and mistakes are the sole losers. Because the winner will stand until their last breath and the last drop of bloodshed. Do you know the difference between a dwarf and a giant? Giants always stand tall and proud and it fears no one. It goes after what it wants because the giant's mentality is off the roof. The giant knows that no one would even dare to contest him and would never even dare to challenge him. But the thing that makes a difference between the giant and the dwarf actually has nothing to do with size or strength, but it's the mentality that separates a giant from a dwarf. It's the mentality of the dwarf that pulls them down. The size of the dwarf is small and so is its mentality. When a dwarf looks at a giant, the only thing it sees is the size difference between them. It only focuses on its disadvantages against a giant. but it never comes to realize of its advantages it has against a giant. If a dwarf had a giant-like mentality, it would have a mindset that he may be bigger than me, taller than me, and much more stronger than me. But me, myself, I am much more faster, slicker, and I can easily pass right through him. A dwarf with a giant mentality would understand that it may be smaller and shorter than a giant, but it's my mentality that it's big, and that's what counts.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about your mentality which matters the most. You may be short, small, big or tall, but if you have that giant-like mentality, it doesn't matter that if you are a dwarf or if you are as big as a giant, you would be able to rule. You would be able to come out on top and stand tall. But if you have a dwarf-like mentality, then even if you are as big as a giant, you would be useless. You would never attain success. So obtain that giant-like mentality so that no matter your physicality, you would achieve greatness and witness reality.